BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.
Welcome back to Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. Y'all know who it is. It's your main man, Ken Clark. Back with another interview. Got a special guest today, Mr. Matt Knoll. What's happening, Matt? What's up, man?
Hey,
Welcome to Tiger Talk.
how you doing, Mr. Clark? It's a blessing to be here. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, man. I'm doing well. It's been looking forward to sitting down with you and having you on Tiger Talk, introducing you to Tiger Nation for those that tune in to Tiger Talk, man. We've been on the Corey C and myself, and been on a roll with just trying to sit down with your teammates. And now I have the pleasure of sitting down with you. And we'll jump right into it, man. Got a
Right.
question, and you just kind of eased into Jackson, Mississippi on us, man. We can't have you come in and then you're not officially introduce yourself. So we'll get started in that way. So Matt Knoll, man. So you got to go ahead and introduce yourself to Tiger Nation and let everybody know a little bit about you, and then we'll get into some specific questions.
Yes, sir. All right. So, yeah, I'm Matt Knoll. I'm a grad transfer punter from Delaware State University. My home is Pennsylvania. So
Okay.
this is pretty far down south for me. I've been to New Orleans once. I've been to Florida a couple of times, but this is my first time living down south. So it's a big difference, but super excited to get down here. I played high school ball at Conrad Weiser. It's in Robertsonia, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour west of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
We played great football. I always say if I could give anything to play one more high school game, I would do it. But
Yeah.
I'm super excited, man. This is it's a whole new environment for me down here. I just really can't wait to finally show our product this Saturday. We've been putting in a lot of work this off season. We got a great group of guys, and I'm just super excited to get this thing rolling.
Absolutely, man. I know you spoke of your high school career. I was checking out your profile, and say you was a 3-sport star, man. You got to talk about that. Football, basketball, soccer. So you can hoop too.
Yeah, I can hoop. I can hoop a little bit. I haven't since high school, so I don't really tell the guys around here because they get it. They take it too serious, man.
Oh
But,
yeah.
yeah, I played basketball in high school. Soccer was really my main sport, which you see that a lot with kickers.
Yeah.
But my head coach, Derek Long, my high school soccer head coach, he did the same thing when he was in high school. He played soccer and kicked for the football team, which was
Yeah.
a huge blessing because, he understood I had to go to football practice some days. I had to miss some soccer games or stuff like that. Um, but yeah, high school went really well. Football wise, I was a kicker, man. I wasn't very good at punting. I love field goals. I love kickoffs. And when it was fourth down, I would just I hated going out for punt. Um, and I wanted to be a field goal kicker in college, but then I had some offers coming out of high school. I eventually took one to Delaware State University. Um, and really it was the best thing for me because I gave up field goals. When I got there, they wanted me to punt. So,
Okay.
I learned that craft, and now I'm here really, and I wouldn't do anything differently if I could do it again.
That's interesting. I wasn't expecting to hear that. I mean, being a kicker, I remember having a conversation with our previous kicker that transferred in from McNeese, Bailey Rayburn, a couple years ago, and he actually kind of had a similar path.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is why I wanted to kind of continue the conversation. We had a really good conversation about kicking. You touched on something that, and like I said, I want you to just share whatever you like to share. But one thing you did mention about soccer being your primary sport, right?
Right.
And I kind of want to get your opinion on this. You're seeing the United States kind of embrace soccer at a greater level. You see
Mhm.
Messi's in Miami now. I've been
Yeah.
following that, so you're seeing a lot of the big names. And what's your thoughts on just the wave of how the U.S. because we know in our country it's football, basketball, baseball. Those are big three,
Right.
right? And now the world knows when you say football, they're speaking of soccer, right? So now you
Okay.
see a major wave of just interest. The teams are getting better. The talent is getting just even greater. So, what's your thoughts on that? And then we'll get into some more football stuff.
For sure, for sure. Well, first, I think it's great for the game as a whole. Like you said, the world knows football, which is soccer. The world loves it, but it was kind of late getting over to America.
Right.
When you bring someone like Messi in, who's arguably the greatest player ever, it really helps the game. You know, even growing up through high school and everything, you know, you hear those jokes from the football jocks. Oh, you play soccer. You're a wimp and all that. But
Yeah.
I think that there's so much passion behind the game that
Mhm.
you really don't see until you watch it, until you experience it, until you go to a game. I
Great
think.
atmosphere, by the way.
I'm sorry.
No, I said great atmosphere.
Oh, for sure, for
Atmosphere,
sure.
unlike anything you kind of ever seen. But I mean to cut you off. Keep going.
No, for sure. And like I was saying, I went to a Philadelphia Union game, I think my senior year of high school. And that was my first soccer game I was at. And just seeing the passion in the sport, it's really unmatched. I mean, I've never played in the vet yet. So, you know,
Okay.
maybe it'll match that level. But, no,
Yeah.
it's awesome. I hope that people, you know, start to watch it more and start to get into the game more because it's really cool.
Yeah, speaking of the vet, though, I mean, we can be rowdy depending on the game. I think we still have some growth from a fan base standpoint. Yes, we're the biggest
Mhm.
crowd in FCS, but I'm a stickler for football atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? I want that rowdy
Oh, yeah.
crowd that just makes opposing teams hate coming to play at your
Mhm.
home field. And we can improve in that area. Even though we're big, it depends on who we're playing. So this year we got four games. I think all four of those games are gonna be insane. With Bethune-Cookman being our first home game, and then you follow that up with homecoming, which is gonna be epic.
Oh, yeah.
And then you look at Texas Southern, and then you finish up in the Soul Bowl with Alcorn, our rival, which is going to
Right.
be insane. So you're going to see a different level of. I know you played at Delaware State. Actually, got a teammate now that actually played over at Delaware State.
Yeah,
Uh,
Isaias.
yeah, so we definitely were excited to have you.
Mhm.
But let's delve a little bit into your college career. You go out of high school, you go to Delaware State, and then all of a sudden you become what they call an All-American, man. You got a lot of great statistics. But I want to talk to you about, kind of how you felt about you had a very storied, I would say, tenure at Delaware State, and you left with some accolades, you left with some, some respect in
Mhm.
your craft, and were able to do some things going into the 2022 season before you finish up. You box to row All-American, and you look
Mhm.
at some of that. What does that mean to you? And speak to kind of top line how you felt your Delaware State career went, some
Right.
accomplishments and things you were proud of, and what it felt like to be considered an All-American.
Yeah. So, well, my first year at Delaware State was when all the COVID stuff was happening.
Hmm.
So, I think that was the best thing for me because I had all fall and all spring to practice essentially. Um, if I would have played that year, I think there's no way I would have been ready for college ball.
Hmm.
I wasn't at the level that I needed to be at, but I didn't know it. You know, coming out of high school when you have all state or all conference, whatever, you think you're the man, and then you get humbled real quick at this level. So the COVID situation was great for me, honestly. Going into those next 2 years when I took over the starting job, um, it was really a blur to look back on it. And it's crazy to say it was a blur because I think I punted way too many times. But
Uh,
it just what I can speak about the accolades is it's really nice to have that on my resume because I look back at all the people who helped me get to where I am. And I feel like all of their help and everything, it didn't go unnoticed, and it paid off, you know. It's cool for me. All American's cool, but it doesn't change your day-to-day life, you know. And that's what I tell the guys here is it's a great goal to work towards, but you're still going to wake up tomorrow. You're going to be the same person, you know, your day's going to be the same. So it was cool, you know, to have that on my resume. But thinking back to all the long days at the field when maybe I'm in a rut and my mom and my granddad are there helping me, you know, retrieve footballs. And I think it's a thank you to them because like everything they did for me, it paid off, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely, man. And even to, stay at Delaware State, to get your degree at Delaware State. I know you graduated and you entered the portal. Kind of want to get some of your thoughts on kind of what that process was like. What kind of went into your mindset when you made the decision. Hey, I'm gonna try something different. Delaware State's been great for me. I got a degree, undergrad, and now I'm looking to transfer out as a grad transfer. So speak to that, and then we'll get into some more specifics about that. Like, what were your undergrad major, and then kind of like what's your direction going into your graduate years?
Okay, so going into Delaware State, I had a goal of graduating in 3 years. I knew because of that COVID bonus year that it could really set me up in the future because a grad transfer in the portal that has 2 years of eligibility is much more coveted than someone who only has 1 year.
It's a great point.
At least that's what I heard. It's different.
No, that's for everybody. There's a lot of truth to it.
Right, but so I had that goal set of graduating in 3 years, and I pulled it off in 3. And I knew that the transfer portal might come into play. After my, I'll say senior year, but my last year at Delaware State, our whole coaching staff was fired. And it was a very unfortunate situation because, I loved all of our coaches. I think they're great guys. I just talked to Coach Milstead the other day. We still stay in touch. But it was kind of a sign for me that, maybe this chapter can close and it's okay that it can close and I should move on. So yeah, I hit the portal. It's honestly really easy how quick and how easy you can get in the portal. You have a conversation with the compliance and you're in like that. And within a couple hours, you're already getting stuff on Twitter and coaches reaching out to you. So it's a process for sure. You don't really get any time to kind of relax. It's like you're in high school again, getting recruited. But I'm very thankful. Jackson State was one of the first schools that reached out to me. And I kind of knew right away, thanks to Isaias, that this is where I was going to end up. So
Isaias is a really good recruiter, man. He was out in the front lines, man. I remember that time, every time someone, hey, let me holler at you for a second. So, shout out to Isaias, man.
if he doesn't make it to the NFL, which I hope he does, but if he doesn't, he needs to get into sales or real estate or something because
he might be a sports agent. You never can tell.
He gets you. He will get you.
Absolutely. So did it feel good, man, to, like it was 3 years prior that you left out of high school when you was being recruited. How different was that recruiting process? I know the portal it seems like some players that maybe weren't recruited as high or as they maybe didn't get the process that they wanted to go into an FCS program or HBCU, and then you enter the portal, and now you see different interests now. Speak to the kind of the difference of kind of how that felt versus high school versus the portal. I know you mentioned you started getting offers immediately,
right?
But how many offers not necessarily how many offers, but speak to some of the opportunities that you had in comparison to high school.
For sure. Well, first I'll say it's a lot different in the sense of you know what to expect. In high school, you don't know where you are on a coach's board or, why didn't they answer my last message? But now that you see college ball and how much they have on their hands, and I could kind of take a step back, send the messages out that I needed to send. I could market myself how I wanted. And I could just be patient and kind of let them come to me. So that was a difference because in high school, when it's not happening quick, you start to panic. For me, that was the biggest difference, was just knowing to be patient, and trusting that the opportunity was going to come. I'll say the biggest difference offer wise from high school to entering the portal was the money. Coming out of high school as a true freshman, I was really, really lucky to be put on scholarship at Delaware State. I think I feel old now, I don't even remember, but I think I had a walk on to Albany.
Okay.
I did a bunch of camps. I went to a James Madison camp up at Penn State, but there's no real offer. So I kind of felt obligated to take the offer to Delaware State. But again, I wouldn't change it for anything because I think I developed into the player I am now because of Delaware State. But entering as a grad student and kind of having a little more in your resume, it's much easier, I think, to get offers as a specialist in the portal as a grad transfer. There was more money on the table from different schools. So, it's at that point, it's just weighing pros and cons, where's going to feel like home. For me, it's where am I going to win? I text Coach TC and texted Coach Hammock, and, my motto all summer was, I just want a ring. I'm just want to get in here, get my work and get my ring and with my brothers, and that's the biggest thing for me. So this feels like home for me.
I love it, man. So let's dive into it. So I know outside of outside of the text messages you just mentioned, let's talk about your recruiting process though, coming out of the portal. Some things that you'd like to share about that experience, like let's see what that looks like. Did you get this offer from Jackson State? Jackson State just won back-to-back SWAC championships. Of course, we fell short at the Celebration Bowl twice. But now we're in a situation where Coach TC is taking over. Let's talk about your recruiting process and kind of what went into your mind outside of, like I said, outside of Isaiah. Just what made you say Jackson State is it?
For sure. So actually, Coach Weeks, who I believe was on the old coaching staff, he reached out to me first.
Okay.
And he called me too much, man. It was every day he's checking in on how our class is going, how you doing, how's your family, how's your mom, and I'm like, this guy, he doesn't even know what I look like. I've never shook his hand before, and he's asking about my family. And I'm not exactly sure the situation, but I know he's not on the coaching staff anymore. But all I could speak of was that's the kind of culture I wanted to get into. He before he even asked about football, it was, how are you doing? How are your people doing? And honestly, that's kind of what did it for me. Other schools were really, it felt like a business. How well could you market yourself? What could you bring to the table? And I kind of felt like, if I were to get injured, which God willing, I don't, but I felt like the other schools that were talking to me, you would just be like this, whereas Jackson State, they care for you more than what you can just put on the field. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, is you're more than just a player. And that was something I was really looking for. And that was kind of the deal for me, was as soon as I got that feeling of home and feeling of they care for you as a person more than a player, that it was a no-brainer. And we win, I'm ready to win. I want to get this thing kicked off. I just want to win some football games.
Yeah, man. Yeah. When we say I love, it's genuinely that, you know what I mean? It's, I don't think there's, people think when we say, I always say this, man, I say, we want to spend time talking about us and what we do great, and it's not a slight to anyone else. And I think what happens, in HBCU, chat boards and it can get a little dicey because everybody's so prideful of their, and it's a beautiful thing, but yet at the same time, it's different. Jackson State is different. You're in a hospitality state, and if you're a Jackson State Tiger, man, you're almost like royalty, man. So the city loves our football Tigers. But did you get a chance to take a visit during the process, or did you just make the decision based off the recruiting?
Yeah, I didn't take any visit. I actually didn't visit anywhere just because my last semester at Delaware State, I was taking 7 classes, and I had no time. I was focused on graduating on time, and I was kind of at the point where, like, I know what I bring to the table. I know what I'm looking for, so I'm ready to just commit.
Wow. So you made a commitment without even stepping foot in Jackson. So let me get
Yeah.
to this then. When did you get to Jackson, and what was your first thoughts when you got here?
So June 26th, I believe, I reported. That was my first day. I had to be here Monday.
Nice.
Um, I drove all the way down. I split the drive into 2 days. Me and my girlfriend drove down together. We stayed in a hotel for a week. I think we were in Madison.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then a week after I reported, I got into my apartment. So now I'm pretty much right around the corner from campus. It's better now that I'm in my apartment. It definitely feels more like home.
Yeah.
But those first few days, man, I was lost. You know, I didn't know the area. I didn't know pretty much anyone on the team. So
Yeah.
it was a crazy experience. But now it's awesome.
Awesome, man. So I would say this. Have you gotten I'm sure you've gotten acclimated now. How has the fan reaction been? Have you been able to interact with any of the local Jackson State fans? Have you rocking your merch? Have you gotten any questions? Are you a football player? I know usually a lot of players always say they get those questions, but speak to your Jackson experience since you've been in Jackson since June.
Oh, it's been super welcoming. Like you said, if you wear anything like this around Jackson, and you're gonna get recognized. Um, I always get the question, do you play football? And then when I answer yes, it's kind of like, oh, like what position are you? And then when I say I'm the punter, they're like, okay, I see it now. Which is it's cool, but
Yeah, they're
it's
like, yeah,
awesome.
Matt is a star. That means I often.
Maybe
No.
it's the hair. I just cut my hair. Maybe no one recognizes me, man. But
Oh
I
man,
was just in Dollar General the
thought you
other
looked
day.
different. I didn't want to say that, but I'm like, man, I
Yeah.
looking different. But no, good deal, man.
Yeah, I figured I needed a new haircut just to, start the season fresh. That's what I was going for. But I was in Dollar General the other day and overheard someone talking, "Oh, in a week from now we're gonna be in Atlanta. We're gonna watch Jack's this and that." And I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
peek around the corner and I was like, "I'll be there too, man. I'll be on the field. Look for number 48." So it's cool, man. I mean,
Yes.
the love in the city is just nothing compares to it.
Yeah, I think this we had a great 2-year run under Coach Prime. It was fun.
Mhm.
But now we transitioned into the TC Taylor era. It
Mhm.
was fun. He played at Jackson State in the alums, been on the staff, been at Jackson State since 19, and just beloved amongst the fan base. So I think everybody's kind of, like he says, chomping at the bit to get
Oh, yeah.
started, man, and just see what we're gonna do. He's a quiet. He has a quiet confidence about him.
Mhm.
And speaking of Coach TC, how has your relationship developed with him since you've joined Jackson State and
Right.
have enrolled?
Well, day one, I wasn't cleared yet because I had to do my physical. So I was a little nervous because I was already missing the first day of workouts. But I walked down to the field, and before I even stepped on the turf, Coach TC was there to greet me, gave me a big hug, and he's a really good guy. I feel like I try and mimic how he carries himself. He is a quiet guy, and I feel like I can tend to be more of a
Oh,
listener than a talker. But he's a phenomenal head coach, phenomenal person. Um, we had the rookie. I wouldn't consider myself a rookie, but I had to do the talent show anyway. So we had our rookie talent show the other day, and I did a little card trick, and he loved it. He was laughing front row and everything. So I'm glad I could give him a smile. But it's been awesome. He loves the specialist. He takes care of us. So
oh
he's a
yeah.
really cool dude.
He definitely shouted out the specialists. I know we watched his press conference just
Oh
yesterday,
yeah.
the other day, and it was it's always really good. But and I know Coach Hammock is going to be working with special teams. How's your relationship with Coach Ty?
I would describe it as really mature. I feel like since I'm the older guy in the group, and he coaches linebackers too, I try and be the coach within the specialist unit.
Okay.
So I think our relationship is really open. We can really communicate if something's working, if something's not working. And I really respect him because I think he really listens to what I say, but he also knows that when he delivers a message that, I'll retain it and make sure that we understand it. So yeah, he's a great guy. Awesome coordinator, gives me a lot of freedom to kind of do what I do. So yeah, it's gonna be good with him.
Good deal, man. So I always like to ask players. I played sports my whole life, man, and we all have favorites. You're a specialist. You have a very unique position. You either know how to do it or you don't. Right? So let's talk about some of the players you tend to pay attention to. You pattern your game behind, whether NFL, college, but who's that player that you go to say, man, I want to watch this. I want to pattern my craft after this player. Who's that?
There's a couple NFL guys out there. I really like the Seahawks punter. There's a punter from, I believe he's at Green Bay right now. I kind of just try and find guys who don't punt by the book. And I mean that because I feel like I'm not a very conventional punter. You look at me and you probably think my mechanics are off.
Okay.
Fine. You can check the resume and the numbers and, my mechanics might be off, but we're here, So I like to watch those guys who are a little different because it kind of, settles me in and helps me realize that if I can do it, it doesn't matter how the job gets done,
So expand on that a little bit for me, because I want to understand it as well. When you say someone can say that your mechanics aren't
right.
Ideal, what does that mean?
So it's kind of difficult to explain. That my best comparison would be if you're familiar with golf. Not everybody swings like Tiger Woods.
Correct.
But there's different ways to get the ball to the hole.
So you like Charles Barkley then?
Not that bad.
I'm teasing.
Not that bad.
I'm teasing. Go ahead. I had to throw the golf analogy.
The goal obviously of specialists is to be as consistent as you can. And if we were all 100% consistent, we could all make it to the league, right? Yeah. So when I'm out at practice, if I, kick a bad ball or something's not right, it might look like, well, why don't you do it this way? Or why don't you just swing straight? Like, if you're swinging straight, the ball should go straight. But I can't do that. I've tried to swing straight. I can't. It's just not something that I can do. So I kind of had to adapt where I drop the ball, how I take my steps, and adapt it to my swing. Kind of like if a golfer's got a slice, maybe he closes his wrist. It might not be the right thing to do, but it works for him. So that's kind of been my motto of just, do what works. And actually I have a younger brother. He is going into his freshman year at East Stroudsburg University. It's a Division II school in Pennsylvania. And he would probably be the punter that I watch the most. I really try and help him out, but also feel like I can learn a lot from him too, because he punts very different than me. His form's different, his steps are different. So I feel like even when I'm trying to teach him and, help him succeed, I'm learning from him as well. Whether he thinks that or not, or whether he knows that or not, he helps me because it brings me back to my basics and teaches me a thing or two.
Man, that's awesome. I do know that there's a science to it. I like you think about punters like Marquette, what's his name? Marquette King.
Marquette King, yeah.
Marquette King made punting look fun, right? Just exciting in the role. But I would say that it's a science of it. Like when you nail that punt and you get it right where you want it, it falls right and it goes dead. Is there what's going through your mind to make that happen? Like to get a ball to drop and actually fall and it doesn't bounce on the way.
Right. I would say
how that works for those that don't know.
Usually as soon as the ball comes out of my hand and I drop it, 95% of the time I know how the punt's going to go. The punt is in your drop, and if your drop's off, the punt's going to be off. So when I drop it good and I can feel it, it's kind of like a sigh of relief, like, I did my job, and then you get the reward of watching it fly through the air and bounce at the one and whatever. But I know right away as soon as I drop it how it's going to feel. So.
Good deal. One thing that you're looking forward to the most, man. I know you was at Delaware State. Not sure what their fan size were. But when it comes to being the punter at Jack State University, Jack State football, what's that one thing that you're looking forward to the most this season?
Wow, there's a lot. I'm gonna give you two. One is I can't wait to play in front of the crowd. You know, the love is different. I've never played in front of a crowd that's gonna be this big. I'm excited already. I'm anxious. I'm feeling everything right now. I can't wait to get out there. So that's number one. I would say number two is, you know, having like opportunity to do an interview like this, which is super awesome. I think I'm really excited to kind of give that impact back to the kids back home. You know, the kid who's stepping up as a freshman at my high school to be the kicker. You know, maybe this gives him confidence, or maybe this gives him, you know, that hope of, oh, you know, I can do that too. So that I'm really looking forward to that. I hope that, you know, my brand and my name and everything really, really spreads around and gets back home and can inspire somebody.
Outstanding. Before you get out of here, drop your social media so those that are tuned in, if they're not following, they can follow you on IG or Twitter, and then we'll let you get out of here.
Cool. So actually, Instagram and Twitter are both the same. It's Matt Knoll 41.
Matt Knoll 41. Yes, 41. You were in 48.
I've always been 41, but Avery Salerno didn't want to give it up.
Oh, so. Come on, Avery.
I know. I bug him about it every day. I said, that's my number.
The number of James Houston also, man. So, Matt, hey, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know Tiger Nation is going to absolutely enjoy this interview. Ladies and gentlemen, All-American punter, Matt Knoll, we welcome you to Tiger Nation. We welcome you to Tiger Talk. Appreciate you for sitting down with us. Have a good one, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thank you. God bless.
Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club is presented by Bet Online.